I would actually visit his museum if he asked. I would go. I would be like, sure, sure. And if he like puts me in an exhibit, that's also okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Okay, and my suffering. What Trazyn video are you going to watch? Oh, Pancreas's video. It's not Rivalry if it's archaeology. Thumbs up. Let's go.
I haven't met a human alive who doesn't like history to some extent. You might say you know plenty of examples of people who don't like history,
I'm sorry. Is the audio too loud? I forgot. I should have checked beforehand. I think it's okay.
but I guarantee you they've had at some point an interest in a movie or book that was in some way historical. Maybe someone swears up and down that they hate history books and documentaries and whatnot, and then they turn around and say their favorite movie is Saving Private Ryan. That seems pretty historical to me. But then again, I'm biased. I majored in history to teach it, as silly as that is looking back on it. Of course I'm going to say people like history. But I know someone who agrees with me. Trazyn the Infinite. Necron nobility, genius, and all-around cool dude, both by the standards of Warhammer 40k and in general, believe it or not. You probably all know the basics of him, I'm sure. That is to say, you all probably know what he's famous for, stealing everyone's stuff like his life depended on it. But believe it or not, there's more to a character than the most noteworthy and fan-recognized trait. As it turns out, Trazyn actually has a lot going on for him underneath the hood. He's clever, as all thieves should be, has quite the sense of humor, and even has something that begins to approach kindness and empathy in his own messed up way.
So he's a kleptomaniac? He steals everything? Yes. He's gonna steal everything. He's gonna steal your wife, your girlfriend, your family. Oh, better watch out, chat. Better watch out.
And since yours truly has finally done the unthinkable and read another 40k book, that of course being The Infinite and the Divine, I'd quite like to make a video about the fella. Let's see what he's all about, from his many archaeological treasures to the things about him that don't involve blatant thievery.
I welcome
all
to a place in my carefully curated collection.
Oh.
But since I'm talking about a Necron character, I think it's fitting I talk about the sponsor of today's video, Mantis Sleep. They've slept for 65 million years. They know bed rest is important. Mantis Sleep's job is a very simple, very important one. Making sleep better. Because if you sleep well, your life is going to be better. You'll be healthier, happier, and all sorts of other positive adjectives. To help with this, they make sleep masks and sleep aids. And as someone whose sleeping habits range from college student on finals week to eldritch gods slumbering for thousands of years straight, I will tell you straight up that I greatly appreciate their sleep masks. And these masks aren't made on the cheap. There's some quality stuff. You ever hear of a little something called silk? One of the softest, most luxurious feeling things on the planet?
Crazy.
Yeah, they got a mask made out of it. You can even get it in purple, so you get to feel like royalty and wear the color of royalty. Sleep like the Roman emperor you are. You deserve it. But that's hardly the only thing you can get from Mantis Sleep.
Cadia.
Want a weighted mask? Boom, there it is. That's the one I use, and it is a very nice thing to have. Or maybe you want to listen to something while you fall asleep, be it an...
That was a custodian guard? The fella just now? Oh. Oh. He's collecting everyone. Oh, that's why he's a Pokemon master.
Audiobooks, some music, YouTube videos. Well, Mantis once again got you covered because they've got a sleeping mask with a built-in Bluetooth system. I enjoy listening to stuff like that while I'm falling asleep, but headphones can be uncomfortable. Well, with Mantis, you can fix both of those problems at the same time. All of them are freely adjustable, too.
The character that would steal your girl, literally.
Worrying about it not fitting. And even if sleeping masks
aren't
your style, Mantis Sleep still got some goodies for you. They've got earplugs, they've got a travel pillow, they've a nap arc for when your manager isn't paying attention to you at work. Everything you could possibly need to improve your sleeping experience, Manta has just for you. And you know what else Mantis Sleep has for you? Deals. Using the link in the description and my code, which is helpfully also on screen right now, you can get 10% off your order. That's https://
If people didn't want Trazyn archiving their stuff, they wouldn't be so collectible.
Using code Pancreas for 10% off your order. Make sure you're resting your best with Mantis Sleep. Now, let's talk about the funny stealing robot. Spoilers for The Infinite and the Divine going forward. I'm not going to spoil every single plot point of the book, but I'm going to be mentioning it somewhat frequently as a point of reference, so don't jump up my ass because I spoiled the book for you. It's been out for years by this point. Go read the damn thing. It's good, I promise. I know it's scary for some of you, reading Warhammer books that don't have a Primarch on the cover of them, but trust me, it's worth the read. Trazyn the Infinite's backstory is that of literally every other Necron character to exist. He used to be a Necron tier, the Catan decided the entire species needed to lose the tier part of Necron tier, and then became a mummy terminator. In his
Yep.
case, there's some evidence that Trazyn dragged Orican to the Diviner into biotransference himself, which would hint that Trazyn was either a fanatical devotee of the Catan or just a massive douchebag. Of course,
Oh.
Orican's memories were probably messed with by the Deceiver, so it's also equally likely that Trazyn had nothing to do with it. During his time as a Necrontyr, he was the chief
look at
archivist
that.
of the Necrontyr, whose job was to oversee the mummification of Necron nobility. A rather high-status job, if I say so myself. He was also already the historian we know him as today, although with not quite as large a gallery as he would come to have. Since Necron lore goes in the direction it does, it's safe to assume that he fought in the war in heaven against the Old Ones, Eldar.
Okay, basically he's a nerd, but a history nerd. He loves archiving everything. Trazyn is not only scary, he's also very smart, terrifying. Trazyn, as of right now, lures gently attempting to figure out how he can steal the Emperor himself on the Golden Throne. how are they going to do that? Wait, I love that. That's so silly.
Krork, and all those colorful background lore blurs that GW will never flesh out. Then he goes to take a nap and is set to wake up 65 million years in the future. Although for Trazyn, his sleep wasn't to last quite as long as that. He only slept for 64,990,000 years,
Ooh.
waking up 10,000 years before most of the other Necrons. And since even
Then
after
he has
all
a
this
jump start
time
to
he was
steal.
still the Archivist, he set about doing what he does best, which is to say
Archiving.
robbing all sorts of peoples of their belongings. Minor Xeno species we don't know anything about, humans, other Necrons, anything you can think of,
Other
Trazyn probably
Necrons
has
too?
something from its civilization in his planet-sized museum of solemnness. To his credit, not all of these are from civilizations that are still around. There's plenty of planets from still existing empires such as the Imperium that are long gone from memory in all ways except for as an exhibit from Trazyn's archives. Call it grave robbing if you really want to, but I'm willing to give Trazyn the benefit of the doubt on this. These civilizations would have come and gone to the ignorance of everyone around them for all time had he not taken something from them. For a good amount of his acquisitions, I'm willing to say he's doing proper archaeology, not just grave robbing. That being said, a good amount of the time he is just grave robbing. Or stealing and kidnapping, because when you want to get the most accurate depiction of a time period, you have to do some dirty work. And thus, we get to what he was
That makes
doing when he
sense to
woke
me.
up during the Horus Heresy and the immediate aftermath of it. Stealing Imperials.
During the Horus Heresy, he was just stealing people? during this big ass war, he decided that now is the time. I mean, actually, yeah, they're kind of busy with things, so they're probably not like protecting their valuable stuff and historical thingamajings properly. I would assume. Ain't nobody got time for that. Necrons are immortal, so this is Trazyn's little project for Etern to keep him sane. Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do when you live forever and ever and ever? No, he could have also gone like the Drukari way and just got so bored of everything that he started pushing. Well, maybe because you guys, I saw someone mention that he like keeps 3 people in a little endless fight. Maybe he's already going that direction of pushing it. Thunder Warrior next to Creed. Oh. Trazyn is banned from a lot of dynasties. He's a complete menace to society, and we love him for it. He's like a little gremlin. A little gremlin. Insert Dora Swiper meme as you please. Love that.
He has replicas of several of the major battles of the Horus Heresy. Having woken up before just about every other major Necron,
replicas.
he had the chance to witness it go off in a way no one else quite did. An outside observer to mankind collectively shitting itself thanks to Horus's little temper tantrum, he knew a chance to get some good historical dioramas when he saw it. So he started collecting Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines. Enough that they'll become relevant later on. He collected more than just that, of course, like Custodians and Thunder Warriors. Also, something I find absolutely amazing is that Trazyn said he found the Imperium to be rather boring. It was all Emperor this, Emperor that. Great scene. Maybe this isn't the best way to word it, but it felt like someone at GW actually understood that perhaps the Imperium isn't the only thing about the setting worth giving a damn about. Of course, immediately after this, Trazyn thinks to himself about how the Horus Heresy was just amazing and full of drama and the coolest thing ever, so it wasn't the perfect scene, but at least
I'm kind of like imagining him just sitting there with popcorn, watching the whole thing unfold. Sometimes getting off his chair and like yoinking someone when he can. But he's just like us, guys. Trazyn is just like us. And I mean, I bet you guys would also steal if you could, right? Maybe, perchance.
GW managed to hold themselves back from stroking themselves off to completion. Or it
Oh.
was just too late to remove the line and they shot the guy who called the Imperium boring in an official 40k book. Could be either, really. Oh, and he also claims that he knew Gilliman and was friends with him. He told Cato Sicarius this to his face.
Was he
now,
actually
this
a
is
friend?
Trazyn. He could be lying, or he could be stretching the truth. Or he could be telling the complete truth to a space marine who would naturally assume he's full of it. Until him and G-Man interact in modern 40k, we probably won't ever know. Probably after Trazyn realizes an awake demigod is a lot more interesting an exhibit than a sleeping one, and goes to acquire more museum pieces, as it were. One of the most interesting things he tried to find was this artifact called the Astrarium Mysterios. What exactly it is I won't say, so you can find it out in the Infinite and the Divine for yourself, but he raids an
What?
Eldar Maiden world to get at it. The Exodites
Oh.
naturally do not approve of this, but the Exodites exist to lose so other factions can do cool stuff, and that's
Oh.
pretty much what happens. They at
Oh.
least managed to take out a decent portion of the force he brought with him, so they didn't just get wiped en masse like with Eldritch Omens. Or maybe I'm just not as bitter this time because it was another Xeno faction wiping the Exodites out rather than Chaos or the Imperium. This plays into the long-standing feud he has with Orican, who also very much wanted the Astrarium. This wasn't the cause of it though. They've been arguing since before they were metal men, and now that they are, all it means is that when they get angry, they can dent the floorboards around them by accident when they go at it. Trazyn didn't quite grasp the full extent of what the Astrarium was after Orican stole it, at least not initially. Even
He just knew it was shiny and valuable, and if someone else wants it, it's probably worth something. That means he should yoink it. So this is the first time I'm watching like a Pancreas video. I don't really know much about him, but I saw someone mention that he's a Eldar player. The freaky space elves. I see salty Eldar player. Is that a common thing amongst Eldar players? Being salty? What is there to be salty about? He also has this wine cellar, generally, not an exaggeration. Doesn't even drink it, but he actually has one. I mean, you gotta have one of everything, right? Maybe he's collecting wine. You know what? I bet he's just collecting wine. Two angry men arguing for literally thousands of years. Oh, I wonder that is not exactly. He doesn't need a good reason. He loves elves. He really likes Eldar. I mean, I think like the idea is cool, the concept, but they are horrible. But you know, conceptually, I think they're pretty cool. Eldars do get bullied by GW, so I kind of get. Oh, really? Oh.
throughout the first few chapters of The Infinite and the Divine, as he learns more about it, he assumed he was dealing with a replica of the real thing, though given how rabidly Orican pursued it, he caught on pretty quickly it was the real deal. What follows is essentially an entire book about an old married couple bickering back and forth amongst each other. Only the married couple is a pair of Necron lords who could each level a star system in their own unique ways. Without too much spoiling, this book shows just how damn clever Trazyn is. Orican, for those who don't know, is a master time traveler, and this is relevant for two examples of Trazyn's brilliance. For one, upon learning that Orican was time traveling, he immediately took steps to counteract the problem. He listened to one of his underlings' advice on how to counteract the issue, and proceeded to take care of things in a way that was most fitting for Trazyn. Which is to say, he stole from the horde of another dynasty whose members were still entirely asleep. Hey, I said sometimes he's not just robbing people. Memes are born for a reason, and in Trazyn's case, the meme about him being a dirty thief is a lot more representative of himself as a character than the Krieg shovel meme. But the other way that Trazyn shows his brilliance is that even before he was able to counteract Orican directly, he kept outwitting him even as he traveled back in time. The incident where all this happens was...
How is a time traveler losing to someone that doesn't travel in time? You should know what happens, right? How do you do that? How did he outsmart him? Eldari almost always lose every time you see them in media. Darn. How could they? The entirety of Infinite and Divine is literally two exceptionally petty and bitter old men bickering for tens of thousands of years over a MacGuffin. It's incredible. That does sound very entertaining, not gonna lie. And, okay, don't spoil it, but maybe they're just friends. You know, maybe they just enjoy bickering together. It's like a rivalry where, you know, they kind of care for each other, but not really. They're like frenemies. Frenemies. Trazyn's just that good and a massive troll by outsmarting him. How the hell do you outsmart a time traveler? Crazy. Crazy.
and Trazyn and Orican were put on trial by a Necron council. They were a sort of interim government that existed before the Necrons would fully awake 10,000 years from then, designed to keep the peace between those who had awoken early for one reason or another, and generally make sure the Necrons weren't all killing each other for stupid blood feud reasons. Necrons being perhaps the most infighting-prone faction in 40k short of the Orcs and Chaos, this council is not without merit. Orican was trying to frame Trazyn as being the one completely at fault, and despite being able to not only completely redo the conversation, but also go back far enough to have a different Necron noble oversee proceedings each time, he couldn't get Trazyn to take the blame. In case the meaning of that went over your head, let me rephrase it just a bit. Despite having the power of infinite do-overs and the ability to basically
He
pick
still
whoever he wanted to be his judge,
failed.
Orican could not outwit Trazyn here.
Oh, what a
So
potato.
yeah, he's a smart
Aw.
guy, both in his ability to admit when he isn't up to snuff yet, and in just general cleverness. After that, the book follows Trazyn and Orican as they attempt to outwit each other and claim the Astrarium and the secrets it leads to which I will spoil little of. We do get to see
Damn.
Trazyn frequently pull off the slyest trick of his
I'm
sleeve,
curious now.
however, which is his body hopping ability.
Ooh.
Trazyn can very conveniently decide that a given Necron is actually himself, taking
Oh.
over them and turning them into a new body for himself. He can do
Oh.
it to all sorts of different Necron types as well. Off the top of my head, I don't believe he ever did it to a basic Necron warrior, but that could very well just be because he didn't want to stoop that low. He's still a Necron lord after all, the pinnacle of
That's very
arrogance in this setting
convenient.
short of Prince Uriel. His mastery of the living metal that makes
Ooh.
Necrons up also lets him
Damn, he's hour farming. Look at him. Look at him sitting like that. Oh my god, sir. Sir. They're roommates and they were roommates. There is a point in the book where they're forced to play nice with one another, and it showed they do have a very begrudging respect for one another. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. You could listen to how they interact on the Paradise world, where when Trazyn flexes on Orican about having a stained window which mysteriously breaks. Mysteriously, huh? The manspread, he knows he's the boss. He's manspreading. He is manspreading. Oh my god. But it's okay. He's cool. That's official Trazyn art. Ooh, actual official art. Look at that. Crazy. Okay, I keep saying Trazyn, but it's Trazyn, right? Wait, how does Banker say it?
smile and wink, funnily enough. Not really
Smile.
important, just a cool character trait he has. Undoubtedly lets him be the perfect little goblin whenever he wants to be one. For all the interesting stuff about the guy, though, he isn't exactly the most plot-relevant character for a large portion of 40k history. He wasn't intervening in the War of the Beast like with Eldrad, for instance. He did fuck around with Cato Sicarius a bit, and he did threaten Orcand with the Catan Shard, which understandably scared the hell out of him, but he wasn't a driving force or a major player in many narrative events for about 10,000 years. He was still busy, of course. His galleries only ever grew throughout all this time. He just wasn't making a point of involving himself in the biggest of battles for
no.
the fate of the universe and whatnot. Galaxy's
the
a
museum
dangerous
stuff.
place, after all, and if he dies, he's dead being a Necron. No soul to resurrect or possibly achieve demon princehood. That's why when he does go out, he's such a big fan of the body takeover trick of his. Even if you managed to kill him, you really didn't. There's also just plain
Yeah.
and simple no way to corner down the real Trazyn.
Wait, question about the body takeover thing. Is it just that he's transferring his consciousness into another metal body, someone else's body? If someone destroys that body, does he like get sent back to his original body, or is that just his body now forever and ever? It's whatever pronunciation Warhammer is kinda pronunciation in Warhammer is kinda strange. It's so confusing. Like Zinj too. I'm like, how the hell do you pronounce that? How is it? Why is it pronounced like Zinj or something like that? You killed one of me, but have you killed all of me? But also the body also warps into himself. It warps into him. Huh? It warps into himself. What does that mean? He transfers his consciousness, then molds the living metal of the new body into looking like his original body. Oh. Okay. Yoink! This is now mine, my body, and now I'm also gonna transform it so it looks like my actual body. That's a cheat skill. What the hell? He transfers, then changes the body shape to suit him. Okay, okay. Okay, I see. But if he gets destroyed, then does he die, or does he literally get yeeted back to a different body, or is he only like immortal if he keeps body hopping or whatever? He's like a ghost. His real body is on the other side of the galaxy and he's just possessing someone. It only works with Necron's body. Think of the liquid metal in Terminator 2. Oh. Okay. Alright. So he's kind of just existing in two places at the same time then. Sort of. Body hop again. He's crazy. How does he have that power? What the hell? How does the other dude have time traveling powers? Is that just normal Necron stuff, or do they have like some kind of ancient relic that enables them to do that stuff? He turns another Necron into a clone of himself and then puts his consciousness into it. Okay. It's sort of like how Lucius the Eternal gets killed and the person slowly turns into him until he takes it over, and the person who kills him becomes a new soul in his armor. Oh, alright. If you think about it, though, he helps Necron soldiers out because if he dies in their body, he frees that old. Oh yeah, They kind of wanna. Oh wait, I never. Oh. 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 I see. Wait, I see. Trazyn summons like 5 of himself in the end of the book, and Orkan looks on and says, I've had a nightmare of this once. His worst nightmare, multiple Trazyns. Oh. Orkan is a chronomancer who are Necron scientists that control time, and he's the best of the chronomancers in the setting. Necrons are known for being able to do anything as long as it doesn't involve the warp, because they're just that smart, huh? Remember the war in heaven? Necrons use stars as ammo. They have access to insane tech. But is that just purely because of how smart they were? Having access to that tech? They are literal masters of science, not a single piece of warp magic. It's pure science. Okay, I see. So it's just time traveling. Purely with science, no magic mumbo jumbo. Considering Necrons have weapons capable of causing a star to supernova, taking over the body of lesser Necrons is tame by comparison. And time traveling too, yeah. Hi, Sprinkles. Hello. Okay, let's continue.
As it were, because he's got such mastery over living metal that he warps the Necron body he inhabits to become like his. He still looks like Trazyn no matter what body he takes over, as long as he has a couple of minutes to reforge it to his liking. He also did try and take the Spear of Vulcan from the Salamanders once, but it failed when he was given its spearhead first. It didn't kill him, of course, but he decided it wasn't worth pissing off the Salamanders anytime soon. Wait a couple of thousand years for them to all die out first, maybe.
And then he can steal it.
He did make friends with one Inquisitor Valeria, however, becoming pen pals with her. Isn't that nice?
Oh,
it started when she briefly had to stay in his galleries, not as an exhibit, but as a visitor. She sent an invading army of a bunch of Cadican units, and he responded by sending her a letter thanking her for sending so many of them that he not only had enough to fill up an exhibit about a war they once took part in, but replaced some of the lesser specimens with the troops she sent. He thanked her for such generosity as to send so many regiments worth of museum display, and even gave her a gift alongside the letter, a Tesseract labyrinth. She was trapped inside, but he assured her it was a novelty to people like him and herself, assuming she was smart enough to get out. She was, and they had about the closest thing an Inquisitor can get to having a friendship with a foul Xeno. She's later...
Wait, what? So she got trapped in the thing that he sent, but he got out? But she got out? She managed to get out? Alright, yeah. Sounds like they have a very... nice, cute friendship. If you can call it a friendship. You don't piss off the salamanders of Vulcan. Ooh. Necron is master of the physical universe. They don't have psychers, they have chronomancers. Thanks for the donation. Here's a free tour. I mean, I think that's really cute. I think that's very cute. Is he open for normal visitors? Does he allow normal visitors? Could we visit him too? Spoiler, they were not friends. Oh, dang it. They're sort of friends. Or something like that.
Executed for the crime of consorting with foul Xenos, unless I'm misremembering what I read, but hey, it was probably cool while it lasted. You can't really blame Trazyn for that one either, that's just the Imperium being the Imperium. But come the 41st millennium's end, or the beginning of the 42nd, because the actual proper date in 40k doesn't mean anything, Trazyn decided he was going to get involved. No longer on the sidelines, this man, he was instead going to mostly still remain on the sidelines, but this time start throwing things from his collection at the things that were bothering him. Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade was getting revved up to go, and believe it or not, Trazyn was one of the first people to realize something big was about to happen. Not because of a spy network of connections to important people in the Imperium or anything like that, but because he stole a sacred bell belonging to an Imperial saint and it started ringing out in stasis. 13 times to be precise, and Trazyn figured that with the holy bell breaking the rules of stasis, it was either a case of chaos about to do something big, or the 40k galaxy was about to have one hell of a rat problem. So he set off to the Celestial Orrery, that thing that can destroy stars with a click of a button. It can also help see the future to some extent, so after a quick chat with the Necrons there, who weren't terribly happy to see him on account of him having stolen their ship before, he's off to Cadia. But wait, I skipped something. He also tossed the sacred bell into the webway. Did he do this as part one of some grand scheme to battle chaos, or even alert the Imperium to what was coming? No. He just hoped it would be as annoying for the Eldar as it was for him. In any other scenario...
Like, the bell ringing was annoying? And Cadia is the planet that goes kaboom, right? Necrons also have the strongest weapons in the setting. Nothing humanity has ever made will ever come to be as strong. Yeah, exploding whole ass planets and all, or stars. This bell is annoying, you can have it. I don't want it here. I don't want it here anymore. It's your problem now. He absolutely invites people to his museum. Okay, but people can't leave, right? Is that it? Once we go in, we don't get to leave anymore. We become part of the museum. He wants to see what will happen, so he did it. I mean, truly a scientist. Have you ever heard a giant bell ring? It sucks. I mean, yeah, I've heard like church bells ring and stuff like that. Yeah, they are freaking loud.
I'd complain that GW was once again screwing the Eldar over for no reason, but that's just funny. Reminds me of Left 4 Dead when you see a car that says "Do not shoot this, it'll alert the Horde," and then I immediately shot it. Yeah, I was that asshole. Anyways, Cadia. He goes there, and Belisarius Call is busy trying to figure out the Necron pylon system that's located on the planet. Call is racist, then Trazyn gives him some tips, and then he just starts letting loose with random shit in his collection. If you think that feels oddly generous in action for a chronic hoarder, consider that Trazyn both perhaps wanted to play the hero for once, and the fall of Cadia was a great chance to collect all sorts of different pieces to replace him. One of those things he released was a company of Horus Heresy-era Ultramarines. Remember I said he collected enough of them that had become relevant? Well, here's the relevancy. Give some credence to Trazyn actually knowing Guilliman. Granted, I doubt they're really the best of friends if Trazyn stole some of his kids, but if nothing else, there's actual solid evidence he's at least aware of Trazyn. Of course, we know how Cadia goes. Necron pylons are activated, thank you Trazyn. The day is almost won and the Eye of Terror shut, and then Abaddon throws a hissy fit followed by more literally throwing a Blackstone fortress into the planet. RIP. Trazyn prompt.
I am still not like really sure of what exactly happened and why it happened, but I guess I'll find out at some point. That was the leader of the Mechanicus. All the Imperium and the Adeptus Mechanicus are racist, though xenophobes would be the correct term. I feel like most races I've seen kind of seem to be kind of xenophobic, maybe except for those mecha dudes whose name I can't remember. The ones, the Tau? Are the Tau racist? I think not, right? Because they have like multiple, there's like multiple races that make up the whole ass Imperium or Empire. The image you just paused on is from a show called Hammer and Bolter. Ooh, I see. Cal's not the leader of the Mechanicus highest ranked model you can run in the tabletop. Close enough. The Tau. Yeah. They're complicated, so sort of not xenophobic. Crackduck has a good video on Fall of Cadia. Okay. I will have to put that on my list then. They have a caste system, so yeah, a little racist. Just a little less racist, you know? Maybe racist in a different way. Don't worry too much. Basically, the Chaos Marines want to knock over the guard post to the warp, succeed and else. And now the galaxy split in two. And also Cadia blew up. Just normal things. Just normal things. I will look into that video. Maybe you can watch it next time.
Leaves after kidnapping Creed for his gallery, and then starts probing his pet Catan shard for questions. Questions about how to safely enter the Eye of Terror in Great Rift. One gets the feeling he's attempting to steal the mother of all museum exhibits for himself. Although for all I know, he could just be planning to raid Crone Worlds for soul stones like the Eldar do so he can barter with them for more stuff. Never really know with Trazyn. His overarching goal of find more historical artifacts may be clear, but the devil's in the details, you know? Now with the basics of his lore largely out of the way, I want to talk about what he's like. Obviously, he's a bit of a kleptomaniac, but in many ways, he's actually quite the kind and introspective fellow. This, of course, comes with the qualifier that he's an asshole and has done pretty horrid stuff, but this is 40k. That's everyone. So, putting that aside, let's talk about how he's not too bad. For one, his interactions with Inquisitor Valeria. Trapping someone in a prison cube may not sound like the kindest thing, but keep in mind that she started it first by having an army invade his house. And if there's anyone who'd be able to reliably escape something like that in the Imperium, it'd be a member of the Ordo Xenos. Aside from that, him bothering to show up at Cadia at all shows he's willing to make nice with others. He worked with Paul and released who knows how much of his collection onto the battlefield to try and make sure the Imperium won the day. Even taking Creed wasn't that bad, all things considered. Yeah, it's a bit fucked up, but Creed's other option was to die on Cadia and have his soul torn apart by demons. Compared to that, Trazyn's museum is a kindness. And in fact, there's some evidence that the people in Trazyn's museum aren't aware of time passing, so it's not like they're just being tortured for all eternity. The Hammer and Bolter short about him in Solemness shows that the Dark Eldar and Chaos Marines inside the little dimensional pocket he trapped them in aren't aware of loops. With that in mind, I don't think it's a stretch to say other people in his exhibits are aware they're even frozen in time. That's not to say he's never done something like that. He has a Death Watch team and a band of orcs positioned right across from each other that are fully aware of the other's presence. If he wants to, he can make sure you're fully aware of the passage of time. Fall on I have no mouth and I must scream style. But I don't think there's reason to believe that's the case with everyone in his museum. He's also...
So, we could just be very comfy in his museum. If we don't, for some reason, piss him off, maybe. You know what? It sounds like he does take good care of his exhibition objects. As far as I remember, Trazyn has a Mechanicus friend and also a human servant, though that says servant has a mind scarab attached to it. Oh, so he's getting brainwashed or something like that? Just a little trolling here and there. Just, you know, some funny tee haha things. It's funny. There is an Adeptus Mechanicus priest who Trazyn keeps as his bestie, whom he allows to dissect Tyranids and send info to the other members of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Oh. So he is helping with, he's helping them out then. I'll go for today. No worries, don't apologize. Bye-bye, Geeker. Trazyn is probably the kindest Necron there is. Are they, like, generally all assholes? I mean, I know, like, most people seem to kind of be an asshole in the Warhammer 40k universe. But are they, like, you know, some factions seem to be just, like, murderers that just kill left and right constantly. But I can't quite tell if the Necrons are like that too.
Also a genuine historian. He doesn't just collect stuff to have it, he is serious about preserving and cataloging galactic history. He gets angry when his displays are ruined, not just because it's his stuff being destroyed, but because history itself is being erased. That's why when Orkan steals the Astrarium for him, he was enraged. Orkan destroyed multiple exhibits of his in an effort to throw Trazyn off during their fight, some of which were Necron tier artifacts. He was genuinely distraught over them being destroyed, and it extends
Aw.
beyond being angry when his stuff is smashed. A passage in The Infinite and the Divine is Trazyn trying to give a tour to some humans on Solemnus. Now,
Ooh.
given that he also told them to stop screaming so he could continue,
Oh.
they probably weren't there willingly, but he at least wants to teach people some stuff. Very
that's
relatable
funny.
to me, even though I didn't stick with teaching as a profession. He also doesn't like needless violence. Infinite and the Divine largely revolves around the planet of Serenade, where a Necron tomb lies with all sorts of secret knowledge inside. When Orkan showed up with Necron destroyers, Trazyn was upset at the damage it was doing to the planet's ecosystem and the people on it. It goes from Eldar, Maiden World to Imperial Colony throughout the course of the book, and Trazyn never once wanted to destroy anything on it to get what he wanted. Well, except from Orkan, he wanted to destroy Orkan, but nothing native to the planet is what I meant. Even if you view it as cynically as possible and view his wanting to limit collateral damage as him just wanting to preserve history so he can steal it later, that's still far more than most characters in this setting would do. He's also introspective in a very depressing way. He's fully aware that when the Necron tier became Necrons, they lost something, the soul. And he laments that no longer can the Necrons do things like truly appreciate music or create new art. That's part of why he's so dedicated to preserving history. It's both out of a genuine desire to preserve what's come and gone, as well as his way of coping with what's been lost.
Aw.
Speaking of his history museum, I was originally going to
Wait, so do the Necrons like not feel any joy at all then? 99% of individuals in 40k are assholes, except the salamanders and lamenters. Those are good boys. And he arranged for the best education for all the human children. Oh, oh, oh! Look at him. Look at this cool thing I found. He just wants to share his cool objects. Like, I got this shiny rock. Please look at it. Please perceive. Most Necrons aren't the best. Exceptions do exist, but they're just that. Oh, okay. Trazyn really appreciates human culture, which is why he left the human populace alone when he was on that planet. Ooh, okay, he's just a human weeb, maybe. A little bit. They have no souls, so they can't. Okay, so no enjoyment. Okay. They emulate emotion. They feel fake emotions. Oh. Okay. So he doesn't even feel joy when like stealing shit then. Darn. He can show it, but he don't really feel it. Oh, that's really depressing. Necron warriors are just mindless husks of their former selves. Those who are nobles or have higher ranks have at least some thoughts, though have no souls still. Yeah, I remember seeing that in I remember Bricky saying something along those lines in I think the timeline video. He helped during the fall of Cadia. Trazyn actively helped out only with the pillars, but he brought a small squadron of ultramarines he had in stasis since the Horus Heresy. Ah, that was just his army to help.
cap the video off with a list of stuff Trazyn stole for his exhibits, but to be honest, I think that'd just be a waste of time. If you really want to know, it's not hard to look it up. Just use the Warhammer Wiki or 1d4chan for the highlights. I'll tell you my personal favorite thing in there, though. A tyrannid swarm of quite humorous extent. You want to know what he did with it? Unleashed on the Phalanx to disable it. Sure, this is non-canon and only happens in Battlefleet Gothic's 2 Necron campaign, but I just love the mental imagery of that. What the hell constitutes a tyrannid swarm of quite humorous extent? That's an exact quote, by the way. Is it an entire hive fleet? Because he captured one of those once, it's not out of the question. Alternatively, is it just like 5 of them and he was forcing the Phalanx to play Alien Isolation in real life? Whatever the case,
terrifying.
it worked and it was funny. Let's see if he's any good on Tabletop. For lore positives, Trazyn gives you the chance to fight for something a bit different by 40k standards. Usually it's for the glory of the Emperor / the Dark Gods, or for survival, or for any number of grand reasons. Trazyn, meanwhile, just wants to burglarize your house. Perhaps not the grandest motivation by comparison, but history is important, and it's a breath of fresh air as far as I'm concerned. He's also one of the more morally good Necron characters, so if that means anything to you, then he's a good choice to field as well. He's also just a silly little guy, so if you want to imagine your army laughing at the enemies all day long, make sure to grab him. Sure, the average Necron warrior won't be laughing, but the leadership will be. For Tabletop positives, he's actually surprisingly solid in melee for a historian. His Empathic Obliterator deals D3 wounds, and with a 2+ to hit
Ooh.
and AP -1, he's at the very least going to be causing some damage. But if you kill a character with it, all enemy units within 6 inches of him take D3 mortal wounds. If you're
Trazyn's
fighting
able to
against a
make
horde
facial
army and the
features?
enemy
Ooh,
messes
I
up their
see.
positioning, Trazyn's going to make him regret it. He's also pretty tanky, with a 3-up save, 4-up invulnerable save, and 6 wounds.
I would actually visit his museum if he asked. I would go. I would be like, sure, sure. And if he like puts me in exhibit, that's okay. That's also okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, okay? And my suffering. Oh.
Not the tankiest in the game by any means, but it'll at least ensure that it'll take some concentrated firepower to bring him down. Of course, as you might have guessed from his lore, he can also take over bodies. When he's killed, you roll a dice. On a 2 or higher, you replace an existing character with Trazyn, who comes back with 3 wounds remaining. No rules that happen when a model is destroyed are triggered either. This is not only funny, but can ensure you get a bit more use out of another character who's also on death's door, since Trazyn always comes back with 3 wounds. He also reduces damage by 1 if he's your warlord. Not amazing, but helpful. Aside from that, he makes it a little bit cheaper to use the Dynastic Heirloom stratagem, and buffs the movement of nearby Necron core units by a little bit.
I don't know
For lore
anything about the
downsides of
battles,
fielding
but
Trazyn,
thumbs up.
in some
Sounded
ways
good.
his differing attitudes from 40k characters can be a bit disappointing. For instance, most every Space Marine is going to go down fighting, whereas Trazyn is going to leg it if things aren't looking too hot. I think it's a positive, but if you want the classic 40k go down fighting attitude, you won't get it with him. Really, if you don't like clever characters, you won't like Trazyn. Maybe clever isn't the best word for it.
I hope you give Battlefield Gothic 2 faction trailer a watch because Trazyn is because Trazyn narrates it. Oh really? Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I will put it on my list. Who wouldn't? It's a plant-sized museum. Yeah. It would take it would take several lifetimes to see everything. Okay, but maybe he can just put me in like a portable little exhibition thingamajig and just haul me around. Freeze time for me, but also make me aware of what's happening in front of me. And then he can just show me every little thing, right? Right? Maybe he would do that. I just want to see his stuff.
Devious, goofy, tricksters. I think that's a good word. Trazyn's a trickster. He releases Tyranid swarms on people as a prank, would happily bombard you from orbit
Just a
rather than
prank,
facing
bro.
a proper 1v1 combat if he has no reason to, and generally isn't going to play fair if he can help it. If you want that kind of character, the Necrons do have others that fit that mold, but Trazyn certainly doesn't. Not much else to say for lore downsides. It's the history bias, what can I say? I'm not going to look down on a fellow connoisseur of the historical arts. Wow, that made me sound like a pretentious fuckwad. Anyway, time for rules downsides. First off, Trazyn has no ranged weapon, so he's got to get up to the enemy line to really do anything. He's survivable enough to probably make it past the first round of combat, but since he's a Necron, he's therefore slow, meaning he isn't going to be reaching melee terribly quickly. He also definitely shouldn't be fighting stronger characters. Throw him against the standard Commissar and the guardsmen around him are going to be taking some auto wounds. Throw him against Gilliman and you're going to watch the 90 points you spent on Trazyn evaporate in front of your eyes. Best be careful with him, otherwise who's going to collect all those museum pieces? He also
Better
doesn't
keep
do
him
all that
safe.
much for the army he's in, unfortunately, and really that's all I've got to say on his rules. It's a shame a character as fun as Trazyn is so simple on the tabletop. Throw him at lesser characters so he can get some free wounds on whatever unit they're attached to, and aside from that, keep him away from the enemy's big guns and he'll probably make his points back. For one final, non-rules related downside, his model is in resin. GW resin, which means it probably sucks and you'll accidentally clip half the model off trying to remove it from the sprue.
Oh,
And there's
but he
Trazyn the
looks cool
Infinite.
at least.
I really like the guy. He's got some deep introspective moments and motivations, as well as the surface level funny meme stuff. The perfect kind of character, in my opinion. When a character is all deep, tragic thought about the setting and just general grimdark angst, they're boring. When they're just surface level meme fodder, they're annoying. Trazyn has both, and as a consequence is one of the most well-rounded characters in the setting. Certainly more interesting than a good chunk of the Primarchs. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. You
Yeah,
are the
I think
unguarded valuables cabinet to my Trazyn the Infinite.
I think I understand why you
What I
guys
need to
like
keep
him.
on
He's a
going
very
in
fun
between bouts of
character,
existential dread.
as
If
far
you'd
as
like
I can
to support
tell.
the channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member. Either way,
Very
thanks for
entertaining.
watching and take care out there.
Thank you, Pancreas. Thank you. Oh, he's kind of. I think Pancreas is kind of funny. First video I've watched of him, but that was an entertaining video. Very entertaining. Also, Yeah, I would totally visit his museum. He eats to sell around the museum. Yep, and I would be okay with that. The universe sometimes needs a troll. Sometimes we need a bit of a comic relief. Something a little bit more lighthearted. And maybe Trazyn fits that mold. Thank you for watching the video. If you had a good time, maybe consider giving a little like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for videos that I can watch in the future, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I will have a look at them at a later time. For now though, I'll have to say goodbye, so bye bye, bye bye bye. Say bye back. Bye bye, bye bye.